Well, another year has come and gone. 2021 just kind of flew by, but it means that it's time for another top 5 games of the year video. And keep in mind that this list is just my own personal list of the games that I enjoyed the most this year. Also keep in mind I didn't get around to playing every game that released this year, so if your favorite game didn't make my list, be sure to drop your top 5 in the comment section so I'm able to hear which games you guys loved this year. And hopefully it's been a good year for you guys. I know it's kind of been a weird year, a weird last 2 years, but we're getting through it and there's a lot of games to play, and that's really the best thing we can do in a time like this is just distract ourselves with some good video games. So let's hop right in at number 5 with Age of Empires 4. Now, Age of Empires 4 is a franchise I've been a fan of for well over a decade, and I grew up playing Age of Empires 2 almost religiously. I'd get home from school and just hop on and play for hours, sometimes like 8 or 9 hours. Both Age of Empires and Roller Coaster Tycoon were my only 2 PC games as a kid, and I played the crap out of them. Now, I was never that great at Age of Empires, but god damn it, if I didn't put close to 1,000 hours in it, I'd be very surprised. With the release of Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition releasing late 2019, I got kind of sucked back into the franchise and began anxiously awaiting Age of Empires 4. And it's finally here, and it's great. It doesn't do a lot in terms of innovation, but to me that's alright because I enjoy Age of Empires for that classic gameplay design that they have. It benefits from sticking to that simple RTS design with a few minor changes and improvements added to bring it into the modern day. The campaigns especially are really well done here. It's both interesting and action-packed as they tie in real historical battles and characters, while delivering great dialogue with history-filled cutscenes. Most of the standard modes make a return for regular matches against AI or online opponents, and again the game really just delivers on what you'd expect from an Age of Empires title in all the right ways, and I'll definitely be playing the game for many long nights ahead. And at number 4 we have Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Now, I've never actually played the originals, which I know released quite a while ago, but I am a fan of the old Pokemon titles, specifically Pokemon Red, which I've beat more times than I can count at this point. And I decided to pick up Shining Pearl as all my friends picked up Diamond so that we could trade our Pokemon to each other for the Pokedex. And after finishing my playthrough, I was a little upset that I never actually played the original because I really enjoyed this one. There's so much to do and explore in the Sinnoh region, and the storyline might be my favorite one in the Pokemon series. And if you've played a Pokemon game before, there's not much I can really add to what the game offers. It's very much your typical Pokemon game. You know, catch, fight, and become the champion. But despite its simple design, the game really did surprise me a few times and had some great memorable areas and gym fights. And if you have a Nintendo Switch and missed out on the original game back in the day, then I highly recommend picking up either Shining Pearl or Brilliant Diamond because it's always a good time to play a Pokemon game. At number 3 we have Halo Infinite. Halo Infinite's gameplay is really what made this game make my top 5 this year. Halo has never felt this good to play, especially the multiplayer in my opinion. I've always liked Halo games, but I've never been a massive fan of the series or anything. But Halo Infinite's multiplayer is just addicting this time around in terms of gameplay. The progression and battle pass really hold the multiplayer back from being a truly complete package for me though, as it really is one of the least rewarding multiplayer games in terms of XP and progression, which is unfortunate. And there's a very small selection of maps. They are adding few game modes here and there, but it is a little lacking on the content side. But again, the gameplay is just so dang good. And that gameplay translates over to the campaign as well. Halo Infinite's campaign in terms of gameplay is one of my favorites. The story, not so much. I think it's just an okay story. It really didn't wow me in any way. The villain is a bit cliche and basic, but again the gameplay really bumped up my enjoyment with the grapple hook and the explosive containers you can throw. Things like that really made it fun to play through. Unfortunately, there weren't a whole lot of different locations and set pieces that impressed me because of the open world design, which kept a lot of the game looking the same throughout its 8-hour campaign. But despite that, I did enjoy the open world elements more than I thought I would, and they are a little Ubisoft feeling, but other than that, I think they're fine. But honestly, I think I prefer the more linear mission design and set pieces of the older Halo games than I did with Infinite. Overall though, Halo Infinite's gameplay is really just incredible and what has hooked me and kept me hooked right from the start. At number 2 we have Forza Horizon 5. Now I started playing the Forza series with the first Horizon game. An open world racing game was a brand new concept at the time, and since their first attempt with Horizon 1, a game that I loved, they've made several improvements and additions over time with the Horizon series, and if you've ever played a racing game, All the typical race types are here: street race, off-road, circuit, but Horizon has plenty more to offer than just the simple races, making the game much more open world in the sense that the entire map was explorable, not just the roads, but the off-road sections as well, adding more and more off-road races like the cross-country races that have you weaving through all parts of the forests or beaches, and the addition of the outlandish stunts that you can pull off, but most importantly, expanding on the amount of cars and how well you can tune and upgrade them. With Horizon 5, the game is set in Mexico, allowing for all kinds of different locales to race and explore, from beaches to forests to towns. It really might be my favorite all-time Horizon location in the series. The amount of things to do and the content to play through is immense, and in this game, I think the game has reached its peak with Horizon 5 in so many ways. I'm already 50 hours in and still playing this game almost daily, and hope to 100% most of the activities in the game, and own every car. That is definitely something I want to do. Now, before we talk about my number 1 spot, I just wanted to mention a few games that I did enjoy this year that didn't quite make my top 5. Firstly, the MMO New World, which I was really into for the first month or so, but eventually grew a little bit boring after sinking around 30 hours into it, and now I only play here and there when I have the time. I enjoyed the combat and the crafting systems, and the dungeons were actually surprisingly fun to clear. Hopefully the game builds upon its foundation in a big way, because I think the groundwork has been laid for a pretty good MMO if they give it the attention and time to improve upon it. I know there's a lot of problems with it, but I enjoyed my time with it. Next up is Chernobylite, a sci-fi survival game set 30 years after the events of the Chernobyl disaster, with a pretty interesting storyline and a decent crafting system. I found it to be a pretty unique game with a lot of familiar elements to it that was well worth my time. And lastly, Back 4 Blood, which is essentially Left 4 Dead 3, but with a much less interesting cast of characters. The game is extremely challenging, but a lot of fun with friends, and it didn't blow me away in any regard, but it was a fun minor distraction for the year that I think anybody can find some enjoyment with. But with those games out of the way, let's talk about my number 1 spot, It Takes Two. This game absolutely surprised me this year. Not only is it my game of the year, but it might be one of my favorite games I've ever played. The game is one of the most creative and unique games, yet very familiar to those who grew up playing older games like 3D platformers or action-adventure games from the days of the early PlayStation consoles or the GameCube. The game is 100% co-op with one other partner, and I played it with my wife, and it was a blast from beginning to end. The areas you traverse through are just fun to explore and take in, and the gameplay with its many mechanics stays fun and interesting throughout the entire journey. One second you'll be fighting a vacuum in a shed, and the next you're helping the squirrel soldiers take out a giant wasp queen. Along the way you'll find some mini games to play like little Game Boy games or target practice games, or you can just mess around with things you find in the world.
Make him go around really fast. So once he gets coming around again, hit him with another. Yeah. Oh my! He flew off! Look!
There he goes!
He flew off!
It's got a lot of funny moments, thanks to the Book of Love especially. That guy is hilarious. And it's just fun. Something that I really appreciate in a game in 2021 where so many games have major issues and game companies feel like they're just giving you these subpar products to keep you kind of like hooked on a game despite it not actually being fun. It Takes Two is one of the most fun games I've ever played, and it fully deserved winning the Game of the Year title at the Game Awards, and will forever be in my top 10 games of all time list. Truly a masterpiece of a game. But those are just my top 5 games of the year. Let me know your list in the comment section below. There were some other games I didn't get around to playing this year that I really wanted to, like Tales of Arise and Resident Evil Village, which I'll be sure to play soon. But of the ones that I played this year, these were my personal favorites. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Leave a like on the video if you did enjoy, it really helps me out, and I will see you guys in the next one.